This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. The long weekend is here, which doesn't really matter because of what's going on around here. Of much more importance to all of you, Game 2 tonight, Edmonton, Alberta, Jets, Oilers, Stanley Cup Playoffs, and we were going to be talking a lot about tonight's game and all the action in the playoffs. Really looking forward to today. Our boy Brandon Rewucki is going to join us a little bit later on in the program, and coming up in just a few minutes, our girl Hextall herself, Leah Hextall, coming on the program. Really looking forward to having Leah join us, get her thoughts on the series, as well as some exciting things that she's doing in women's hockey coming up and her fledgling broadcasting career. Of course, as always, we are brought to you by our great family of sponsors: Not AutoCorp, Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Nick and Nicky DQ Group, Little Brown Jug Brewing, Assiniboia Downs, Breezy Bend, and CoolBet.com, and of course, Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. So Leah Hextall, Brandon Rewucki, lots of Jets Oilers talk, and some great news to start off the program. Jets meeting the media almost as we speak right now as we go live on YouTube at 1 p.m. And we have just heard from Pierre-Luc Dubois, who said he is 100% and he will be in the lineup tonight. Another great bit of news: Nikolai Ehlers also ditched the non-contact jersey. Did not hear from Nikolai Ehlers. We'll wait to get word from the coach on his availability for tonight or the series. But definitely great news that Ehlers and Dubois both out of the yellow jerseys, and we do have confirmation that PLD will be in the lineup tonight. Let's get to it and welcome in the CTO, Michael Remis. Remo, great way to start off the program with some good news on the Jets lineup tonight, going into tonight with a 1-0 series lead.
Yeah, wow. The Jets got off to a great start in Game 1 with the win. And you thought, okay, now let's get, now they have more time for these guys to get healthy. We had thought Ehlers was closer than Dubois, but we saw the tweets this morning, Tom Gazzola putting out the picture that they were both wearing, not wearing the yellow non-contact jersey anymore. And Sarah went as far to tweet out what color every player's jersey was wearing. It's playoffs. We want to know these things. We need to know that valuable information, but Dubois just spoke to the media, said that he's in. We will wait before we get any lines, and I'll have all the stuff. I have it ready on the ticker once we're ready to go. So this is exciting. I don't know what the Jets line, if it's moved in the past bit, but I saw they were like plus 154. So definitely lots to get to here.
Yeah, we'll get to the cool bet lines for tonight's game and the weekend a little bit later on. And I will just tell you, for those of you that enjoy the Lock Shop, the kind of sports betting podcast I do with Dustin Nielsen, normally we throw that sucker up or do it live Friday nights around 9 o'clock Winnipeg time. Obviously, no one's going to want to watch anything other than the hockey game at that point. So Dusty and I will go live with the Lock Shop tonight at 6 p.m. You can follow it. You can watch the video live on Twitter or just download. If you're listening to the podcast, pump in Lock Shop and hit the subscribe button and you can get that. We'll talk about tonight's game as well as Saturday in the National Hockey League and, of course, the ridiculousness of the wide world of wagering coming up as well. Obviously when we get into the conversations with Leah Hextall and Brandon Rewucki, we'll really focus in on the Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. The big news coming into today's program, hot off the presses, if you will. Just moments ago, Pierre-Luc Dubois pronouncing himself in for tonight's game and meeting the media. So, tell you what, it's a good, listen, everyone was already feeling good about the Winnipeg Jets winning game number 1, considering the concern about their final month of the season. I said, a couple weeks ago, listen, as concerning as everything is, if the Jets can go in and win game 1 in Edmonton, all of that will be ancient history, and it won't matter a damn. And that's exactly where we are right now. A great start for the club, a great team win, contributions from Logan Stanley, Tucker Pullman, Dominic Toninato. Those were the heroes on Wednesday night, in addition, of course, to Connor Hellebuyck. Now, Remo, let me talk to you about this for a couple seconds. And feel free, folks, if you want to give Dustin Nielsen a bit of a heater online for this. I tweeted this out earlier. Dusty, honestly, may be the most talented radio guy in Canada. Hardest working, along with my guy Pat Steinberg in Calgary does long hours too. But Dusty's show is so much fun, and they do all of these songs. He's got a goal song for most of the Oilers. And, you know, if the team scores a bunch of goals, I mean, they can literally run a 15-minute segment just playing all these ridiculous remakes of songs based around the Oiler players. So he's got a Mike Smith win song now, Reem. And he was so excited to play it. But, of course, he hasn't won. So he was contemplating playing it today. Should we play this? It's sort of breaking the rules, but should we play this to, quote, turn things around? And wasn't going to. And at the end of the program, talked to Low Tide. Low Tide says, no, you should play it. So he sort of had his arm twisted and then played it. Another fine production of the Nielsen show, I will say that. However, I did tweet out, wow, Dustin Nielsen has just played the Mike Smith win song as a turn it around song. This is an ultimate act of desperation. Jets in 4. To which point he protested. He goes, no, this is a pump-up song for everybody going on. Getting a lot of heat, feeling a lot of pressure. It will be addressed on the Lock Shop tonight. So you combine that, Remis, with the fact that Wednesday night, it was Connor Hellebuyck's birthday. And I've got some breaking news from doing my work investigating the Gram. Congratulations are in order to Connor Hellebuyck and his lovely girlfriend, because they're expecting a baby. We're going to have some baby swag of Connor Hellebuyck going into tonight. So to me, everything's coming up Jets going into this evening after a big Game 1 win. If you thought Hellebuyck was fired up because it was his 28th birthday, how fired up is he going to be that the world now knows that he's going to be a father, and hopefully he can take as good care of his child bringing into the world as he has for his hockey team in the Winnipeg Jets. And he will be that fatherly figure, the last line of defense for the family tonight when they take on Edmonton. Wow. I don't think I missed anything. It's all pointing to continued momentum for Winnipeg.
Yeah, wow. Send me that tweet. We can throw it up here. And shout out to GoPro Trucker Manitoba with the Super Chat. Says, happy Friday, long weekend with 3 Jets playoff games and Monaco Grand Prix on Sunday. So, yeah, shout out to you, GoPro Trucker Manitoba. That is awesome.
Hey, GoPro, yeah, thanks for the super chat. And speaking of the Monaco Grand Prix, GoPro, just hit me up. I was looking at the lines for this. We got Verstappen at plus 125 and Lewis Hamilton at plus 175. It's always one of those two guys that wins, and I always seem to be on the wrong side of things. I was a little surprised Max Verstappen was the favorite. So hit me in the chat. Who should I be going on the Monaco Grand Prix? Yeah, I'll send that over to you, Reem, and you can get that up. But anyways, congratulations to Connor and his girlfriend. That is wonderful news, and it's even more wonderful news that he'll be in the net tonight with PLD in front of him. Again, we'll keep an eye on what everyone's reporting coming out of the sessions with the Winnipeg Jets. Should hear from Paul Maurice in a little bit, Remo. And then we get to it tonight with an 8 o'clock start. And then what a weird weekend this is going to be for everyone around here. The new restrictions came out afterwards. We sort of knew that it was going to be really, really locked down. You can't get together with anybody, indoors, outdoors. But we do have PGA Championship going on through the day. We've got amazing hockey, actually, matinees as well. And then, of course, Sunday night, Game 3 here in Winnipeg. And then a late game, 8:45 puck drop on Monday. And it is Holiday Monday, but God knows there's nothing else to do, and there's too much to talk about. So, Reem, we are going to do it for the people. we will not be taking a long weekend. We'll be back Monday, 1 o'clock. And fingers crossed, we might have a little collab, if you will, with the IC boys, hoping that Ezzy and Drew can join us, maybe as a tag team, have a little fun on a Monday afternoon heading into Game 3 coming up. But obviously, before we get to Monday's show, just wanted to let everyone know that we will be there. We've got a lot to get to tonight, both on the Winnipeg Jets and a pretty wild night in the Stanley Cup playoffs last night, dude.
Yeah, it was hard not to tune in to that Toronto-Montreal game, the two teams, and then it kind of went a bit of a different feeling after that, very scary play. Everyone's talking about Corey Perry and John Tavares. Tavares getting knocked by former Jet Ben Sherratt, falls to the ground, starts rolling, and, Corey Perry's in a really bad spot there. I don't think he had any time to react, out of the way. It seemed like he tried to jump, and jumped over Tavares, shin to face, and very scary, seeing Tavares on the ground, getting stretchered off. That was tough to watch. I know a lot of the fans were, I think, rattled seeing that, players as well. And then we had the follow-up, Nick Foligno dropping the gloves with Corey Perry. And I think if this is any player other than Corey Perry, you can put it off as an accident, but and even still, it was pretty clear that he had no time to react, but I guess Corey Perry hasn't earned that benefit of the doubt, or as Nick Foligno said after, our captain's laying on the ice, I'm going to do something about it. And I think everyone's talking about that as well as the fact that the injury to Tavares, but they said today, Sheldon Keefe said he had a concussion. The Leafs put out a tweet saying that he's out, out of the hospital. He's improving, but he's out indefinitely. So I think we just hope Tavares is okay, but very scary situation last night.
Yeah, that was horrifying. And listen, I'm not a huge proponent of fighting. When things sort of happen organically, whatever. I watch it. I'm not turning my head or anything like that. That one last night was, a lot of people were talking about it, just how stupid it was. And listen, if it wasn't Corey Perry, I would absolutely say that. Although Nick Foligno said it didn't matter. It was, hey, our captain's down. We got to go and do something about it. And I'm sure that'll spark all sorts of conversations about the hockey culture. But as much, I will admit to you all here on Winnipeg Sports Talk, as much as I'm not really a proponent of fighting, and I thought it was a stupid fight, I was still hoping that Nick Foligno took Corey Perry's head off when they were throwing them down. So maybe that's been earned by Corey Perry over a long career of being a weasel in the National Hockey League. Folks, we've got a couple things to get to. We're going to bring Leah Hextall on in just 1 second. Big shout out to Not AutoCorp, a wonderful sponsor from day one. Why not get into the vehicle of your dreams at an incredible price with the help of the Not team? You can see them in person at Waverly and McGillivray. You can check out their amazing website online at not.ca. We got tons of Teslas, all sorts of vehicles if you're looking at, making a move into a new one at a great price on something pre-owned. And of course, the other side of it is that if you're in a lease or you're looking to get out of your current vehicle, they've got a very successful consignment program, and they can help you with that too. Hit them up, not.ca, or pop down. Tell them the boys at Winnipeg Sports Talk sent you to Not AutoCorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Big shout out to Royal Sports. The whiteout gear is in. If you want to get ready for the game tonight, you've still got some time to pop by. Of course, everything's safe, sanitized, and socially distanced right now at Royal Sports. And while you're there, check out their bikes, check out their brand new fitness selection, and all the streetwear as well. In addition to soccer, baseball, disc golf, they've got it all. One-stop shop for all things Jets, sports, and outdoors. There's Royal Sports 650 Rally in EK and 750 Pembina Highway. And a big shout out to our friends at Boston Pizza. I know it wasn't our game night last night, but I did sort of go the way of a game night deal. Had a busy week, wanted to reward myself. I went with the pizza flights, had half of it last night, had a little for lunch today, and some wings. I can't think of a better way to get ready for the game tonight. We can't sit in the Boston Pizza Lounge, but we certainly can order takeout and delivery right now. Give them a call or do it at bostonpizza.com. We'll give our DQ plug a little bit later on, but I just quickly, before we bring Leah Hextall in, we did the Wheel of Fortune on Wednesday for the DQ cake for the Jets game. We've got another one to do today. We will do it with people in the chat. at the end of the program. So if you are around, make sure you stick. If you thought the Wheel of Fortune was great, just wait till how we deliver this one today. I'm very excited about this. So there's a little tease for you a little later on. Now, speaking of teases, before we bring Leah Hextall in, I know everyone's going to be losing it in the chat. We've been hearing, when are you getting Hex on? Well, we're getting Hex on. We're going to be talking Jets. We're going to be talking Oilers. We're going to be talking about some very exciting things in her broadcasting career. But I will tell you before we bring Leah on, I will not be asking about the ESPN reports that are coming earlier this week because I don't think there's anything official. I don't want to put her in a bad spot. But needless to say, we're all very happy and excited for what was reported earlier this week by Andrew Marchand in the New York Post. And when she has the ability to talk about that, we'll certainly be doing it here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. That being said, we've got a lot to get to, and let's welcome in our good friend Leah Hextall. Hex, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good, Huss. How are you doing? It is, I love being here. It's been way too long. I haven't seen you for so long, one because of the pandemic, but other just because, you're a busy boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's great to see you, and it's so fun. I mean, I've got a bunch of things to talk about, kind of to catch up over the course of the winter and what you've been doing. Broadcasting one of the most legendary hockey games anywhere this year as well. But listen, when we get into Jets Oilers, I know it's going to probably, we'll get on all sorts of things go on. First off, I wanted to ask you about women's hockey. You've been involved in broadcasting it. There's some exciting things coming up with Sportsnet. Fill us in on, we won't get too far down the road with your broadcasting career, but I know there's some announcements yesterday, and you've been doing such a great job putting in the reps, getting better at it, and this is really exciting for you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Huss. Trying to get better. It's such a hard thing to do, this play-by-play thing. It's such an animal. It's such a beast. As a broadcaster, we respect the people who sit in that chair so much because it's so difficult. So just trying to be a part of that has been such a challenge, but I absolutely love it. But starting Monday, the women are going to be taking the stage here in Canada, finally. The PWHPA, the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. I know many of your viewers probably have heard of it before, but basically it's the women who have decided that they want more. They want a better infrastructure for the women's game, and they want something to emulate the WNBA, and this is what they're pushing for. And it's the best female players in the world. It's all of our Olympians. It's all of the women who are centralized for the upcoming Olympics that was just announced, the centralized list that will happen in Calgary for our 2022 games in Beijing. But it's the Canadian leg of the Secret Dream Gap Tours. So Secret Deodorant sponsoring it. I got to give them a shout out. Sportsnet's going to have the games. They start on Monday. They'll be on SN Now streaming all week. But then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because it's a round robin of 3 teams. Cassie Campbell-Pascal and I are going to get in the booth for Sportsnet in Calgary. We're going to call 2 games, and then the championship of the round robin. The 3 teams are Team Scotiabank out of the Calgary region, Team Sonnet out of the Toronto region, and Team Bauer out of Montreal. So it'll be those 3 teams combating against each other in partnership with the Calgary Flames, which is a big reason why this is happening. So it's all going to be at Scotiabank at their rink. So we're so thrilled to be at the Saddle Dome and getting to bring these women at such an important time of the year because playoffs are going on. But these games, they will be available to you, coming not right up head to head against the NHL. And Cass and I are so excited to get in the booth and call these women because they're going to give us a great show.
Well, this is awesome. Shout out to Secret for making it happen and the Flames. And I will not take a cheap shot at them about the availability of the rink right now to host this event because they're doing the right thing for women's hockey. Thank you. It's a major personal development for you right now, not taking that cheap shot at the Flames. This is big, though, for women's hockey, and there's been so much talk about, listen, what's happened at the professional level or what hasn't been happening at the professional level with the rival leagues and, trying to figure out a way to bring the women's game forward as it should be on both sides of the border. And then you mix in the fact that the World Championships were canceled. Now, they are apparently going to be played later on in the summer, but, there's been a lot of we talked about what's happened to the CFL right now. Not everyone has the NBA money, NFL money, even NHL money to keep going. And the predicament, the situation that women's hockey has been put in has been incredibly taxed. Something like this event going forward, beginning on Monday, has to be incredibly important for the forward momentum for where women's hockey really does need to go.
Absolutely, Hess. I mean, you have to really think about this. There hasn't been a professional women's tournament since 2019. That's over 2 years on the calendar because the Worlds were canceled this year, as you said. They were also canceled last year because they were supposed to happen right after the World shut down in March. And it's been excruciating for the women. They haven't had a place to play. Can you imagine trying to prepare for the Olympics, which is the biggest stage the women have at this point by far, and not being able to play competitive? Not only for the players, but how do you select the teams? How do you select the teams when you can't even watch what the women are capable of and what they're doing? And that's been such a challenge for management from Hockey Canada and all the way down, and I'm sure for Team USA as well. But, you know, there's so much that's said about the women's game. You know, you talk about the NWHL, and I think that's what you're referencing. They're a league. They're down in the U.S. They play. They pay their women. I'm not going to discredit that at all. I'm never going to discredit anyone trying to do something for women in sport. But I think what people have to understand about the PWHPA is that this was started after the Canadian Women's Hockey League folded. And I had called the 2019 Clarkson Cup, and a week later, the league folded. The reason being is that these women want a proper infrastructure so that they can have all the bells and whistles that, you know, the WNBA has. And the WNBA is a beast now. It's on ESPN. It's got a broadcast deal. These women get sneaker deals. I mean, they're all over the place. It took years for that, but the women in hockey want that as well. And unfortunately, what I am going to say is that compared to the NWHL, the PWHPA, that's where your stars are. That's where all your Olympians are. That's where the best women in the world are. And they're asking for this. So that is their whole cause. And, you know, I'm a big supporter of the PWHPA, and I just hope that they can continue to work with the NHL because we've seen it, right? You have the Calgary Flames invested going next week. But, you know, down in the States, the U.S. leg of the PWHPA, they played in St. Louis. They've played in Chicago. They've played in so many different area cities. Toronto and Montreal have both joined in with the PWHPA, joining in partnerships. I'm waiting for Winnipeg to do it, and I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I don't know why the Jets haven't grabbed onto that yet and become a partnership because, you know, you look at the centralized kids right now, kids, I shouldn't call them kids, young women who are on the list waiting to make Team Canada. And, you know, you've got Kristen Campbell. She's right down the road from Brandon. She's an amazing goaltender. You know, they call her Soupy, you know, because that's what we do in hockey. We got those unique nicknames. But, you know, Melissa Walczak, she's, you know, not centralized, but she's a Winnipeg girl playing in the PWHPA. And Bridget Lacquette, another one, former Olympian, didn't get centralized this time, unfortunately. But, you know, she's going to be playing in the games this week. So I want to continue to see those NHL partnerships going. There's a lot of exciting things going on parallel with the NHL, but the PWHPA, they're just trying to take that next step. And the more we support it, the more we watch it, shows that there's an appetite for it. So that's why next week is so important for people to tune in if they're available to do so.
Well, it's phenomenal. And again, as someone, you know, I worked with Hockey Canada putting on the 2007 Women's Worlds here in Winnipeg. It was one of the highlight of my entire career.
It was awesome.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. And you know, I mean, just as someone that, you know, loves the sport, realizes that we need to give more opportunities to the women. I mean, I hope the end game of all of this is something like what you're saying along the lines of, you know, a WNBA where you have teams playing in NHL cities, getting support from the same fans, and moving forward. And it is, I do understand what a difficult time it is for the National Hockey League. They're trying to figure out how to play. They're losing millions of dollars right now, but into the future through events like this, I really hope this is a catalyst to get there, and I know you will be a big part of it. Leah Hextall's with us here on Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. So in addition to all the great women's hockey, we've got some great playoff hockey. First up, what'd you think of Jets winning, going into Edmonton with all the doom and gloom around the team, losing 6 straight to Edmonton, having a horrible final month of the season? None of that matters now going into tonight with a 1-0 lead. What'd you think?
You know what? All credit to the Jets for going in there, you know, missing some of their top key players in Ehlers and Dubois. And it looks like, you know, I'm sure you've seen the reports today. They're back in the normal white. So who knows what's going to happen for game 2 if they're going to be available. That'll be cross your fingers. But I was just, you know, to me, all it comes down to is Connor Hellebuyck. You know, Huss, it's just, I thought he was sensational. And I really was happy to see him come out so strong in that game because the end of the season, we can all admit, the Jets were limping into the playoffs. We all know that. Hellebuyck didn't look quite as strong as he usually does. But I really thought that he made some very key saves, and that's what you need from your goaltender. You need your goaltender to make those game-stealing saves. And, Connor McDavid had a couple opportunities, though, quick little rushes by him, and he was there and equal to the task. And it'll be interesting, though, because he's going to have to maintain that. And, I wasn't shocked about the physicality because I knew that's what the Jets were going to do. They were going to come out and just hit. But 50 hits between the two teams after the first period, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, to me, that's not sustainable because, as we all know, when you're hitting, you don't possess the puck. And the Jets need to possess the puck. So they can't be running around hitting all game. They've got to be very intentional about that. I don't think that'll be sustained, but I got to say, they kept Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl off the score sheet, and that's just key. So all credit to the Jets for coming out and getting it done. I will say it was kind of boring compared to the other games I've seen. It might have been one of the more boring games I've seen, but you know what? Who cares? They got the W, and that's all that matters for the Jets, right?
Well, to be honest, and I spoke about this on my commentary on OB today, that's exactly the way Maurice wrote it up. And listen, I get it. I mean, if you're a coach in a Canadian market, you're going to take your fair share of criticism, and often, it's deserved. I'm not saying it's not, but I think credit where credit is due should go to Paul Maurice for game one. And listen, I know a lot of people were kind of, raising a side eye when we heard the coach over and over again in the final couple weeks saying, listen, I know this has been a real rough stretch for us, but it can and will make us a more prepared team to win and play the way that we need to in the playoffs. And, listen, when you get embarrassed the way the Jets did against Edmonton here in Winnipeg with that 6-1 win a few weeks ago, I mean, that sort of really did seem like rock bottom. And at a certain point, you go, guys, we can keep doing what we're doing with the same results, or we turn things around. And I mean, the way that they defended 5-on-5, we talked about the back pressure of the forwards coming in to help out against Connor McDavid. I mean, that literally was exactly the way they wrote it out. And then, Leah, when you add in the lineup decisions, I mean, there's been so much consternation about the third defense pairing. They put together Poolman and Stanley, who I think had probably played about 5 shifts together all season long. Poolman gets a massive goal and looked like playoff Poolman from the bubble last August against the Calgary Flames. And Logan Stanley with his bomb tipped in by Dominic Toninato in his third game as a Jet. I mean, honestly, I get it. I'm here for some of the criticism of the coach, but at the same time, if we're being fair, everything Paul Maurice did turned out exactly as he hoped. Best case scenario for that game. And now we know we're getting Pierre-Luc Dubois back. Haven't heard yet about Nikolai Ehlers. But anyways, just your thoughts on the coach and what he was able to do really leading into the playoffs and how that showed in game one.
Well, first of all, we all know that even though there's no fans in the stands, when you start a playoff series on the road, the whole goal, get that split, right? That's the goal. If you get that, that's job done. Thank you, check, done. And that's the Jets have already done that. I mean, obviously they'd love to win again tonight, but they've accomplished that. And when you think of Paul Maurice, this is the part of the season where I really think Paul Maurice earns his paycheck. And what I mean by that is I think, we all understand that in the NHL now, coaching isn't what it used to be because these players are so skilled and so talented. But Paul Maurice is excellent at the chess game. And you mentioned the pairings. You mentioned some of the lineup decisions, and that's part of that chess game. The other part of it is now the matchups. And, obviously not having last change when you're on the road, you're not maybe going to be able to get Lowry against McDavid, and you're instead going to have to put your top line out there, which is going to mute them. And I understand that, but I'm interested to see in game two, now that Maurice has seen game one, if he picks up on just basically the flow of how the Edmonton Oilers are rolling. And if he manages to get some different matchups against McDavid, that will benefit the Jets. Because, when you've seen him in playoffs before, I don't know if there's anyone who does the chess game better, but, I'm with you. And I thought Christian Vesalainen looked really good out there. I thought he kept it very simple. He's a bigger body, and I thought he did very well playing up front because, it's not like he's played a million games either. So I was really impressed with those young players were able to do. And you know what? I see the Poolman, how you works that in there. I saw your tweet, so I know that you're just massaging yourself there, bud. So, I saw that.
I always manage to. Sometimes the material may hit social before it gets mixed in, but you know what? In all seriousness about Poolman, and I think this goes to part of the reason with the usage. I mean, we talked a lot about when is Poolman, when is DeMello going to play with Morrissey? Everyone just assumed that was going to happen at some point, and the coach held off on it. And a big part of that, I think, was the confidence they had in Pullman as to there was another level from him because they saw it. I still maintain he was Jets' best defenseman against Calgary last year in the playoffs. And, there was some strong play, but at times, some ups and downs for a younger player. And, I think there's an argument to be made that maybe Tucker Pullman on a third pairing makes your third pairing that much better. I mean, the thing that stood out to me, Leah, was the ice time. Logan Stanley and Tucker Pullman were only off about 2 minutes from Neil Pionk and Derek Forbort. And if you compare the Jets' ice time of defense pairings, usually the third pairing would maybe be in and around 10 minutes, certainly wouldn't be close to 20 minutes. And I think that speaks to how well Pullman was, but also Logan Stanley, who honestly has been one of the best stories of the Winnipeg Jets this year.
Yeah, he's been a huge story, not just, literally because of his height, but I mean, he's been great. I mean, he's had his moments, but how can he not? I mean, any young player in this league is going to have moments where they're going to make their mistakes. But what I really love about what I've seen in the development of Stanley is when he does make those mistakes, you can see him absorb them, and he seems like a really coachable kid. He really seems like someone who has taken everything from this season and made the most of it and learned from it, and he continues to improve, and that's what you want to see from him. The other thing I will say is, you mentioned the time on ice, and I agree with you. I love the fact that it can be spread out more, and you don't have so much leaning on the Neil Pionks and the Josh Morrisseys of the world. But what I will say, too, is I was really impressed with Neil Pionk. I don't think he gets enough credit. I think this was just, I think back to the trade for Trouba, and I just think we got the Jets won that in spades because of the fact that Pionk came back, and then obviously the nice pick. But, Neil Pionk, you saw him getting into it. You saw him getting under McDavid's skin. And, that if he can continue to do that, he has such a tough assignment. But if he can continue to do that and, kind of draw McDavid into that, that's really effective. And I enjoyed seeing that in game one. And I thought Neil Pionk was very effective.
Let me ask you about the Oilers, because obviously having some good friends and doing a lot of work with Dustin Nielsen in Edmonton, we've spoke quite a bit over the last couple days about game one heading into game two. And one of the things, certainly from the Edmonton side of things, is no one was very impressed with their start. I mean, they did not get a shot on Connor Hellebuyck until 8.5 minutes into the game. And Connor McDavid, for his part, Hellebuyck didn't have to make a save off McDavid till I believe 4 minutes left in the third period. What did you make of just the Oilers? Were they ready? Were they prepared? Were they a little tentative? And how different of a team do you think that we'll see tonight when they drop the puck?
I think you just hit it right there. I think they were tentative. I think, for the Oilers this year, there is that pressure that they have come. They have taken a step this year. It's not just because they have Connor McDavid. They have a better team defense overall. They're going into this series against the Jets, which everybody already counted the Jets out because of what happened in the regular season. And I think the Edmonton Oilers really kind of came out last night thinking, we are supposed to win this series. There is no, if we lose, it's a failure. And I think Edmonton, and we've seen this in their history, even when they've had all these number one draft picks, they've never had really high expectations on them. And I think that has changed. I think everyone expects them to defeat the Winnipeg Jets. And if they don't, then that's a failure on the Edmonton Oilers, not as much as a victory for the Jets. So there's a little bit of pressure here. And I do think they came out tentative. I do think the fact that Winnipeg came out and just hit I won't swear. You can't swear on.
If you want to, you can.
I won't. I'll keep I can do it, Huss. I cannot swear for, 30 minutes or whatever it might be. But, they really took it to them. And, the fact that they did that, I just think that maybe the Oils just weren't quite prepared for them and were a little tentative about making mistakes early on. And I definitely think we're going to see a different team come out. I think Edmonton's going to be flying tonight. That's my feeling.
Bit of an update. Shout out to Remis, who just got that tweet out from Mitch Clinton of the Jets. So Maurice has just confirmed that Ehlers will not play tonight, but he is a possibility for Sunday. Of course, for the first time, Leah, today we saw him without the yellow jersey, the non-contact jersey, which is a good sign. And I think, you combine the fact the game one win, the return of Pierre-Luc Dubois tonight, it does seem like, maybe the Jets are in a situation where they can be a little more cautious with Ehlers, get him back hopefully Sunday, but still have a better lineup tonight than they had in game one, assuming the PLD will be in. And I'd have to think that he goes in for Vesalainen. I guess they could think of moving Vesalainen down, but hard to imagine taking Toninato out of that fourth line role considering the way things went in game one.
Yeah, that would take some to take him out after what he managed to do in game one there. But I have a question for you, Huss. Pierre-Luc Dubois, He's been an enigma to me this season. I had higher expectations for him this year. I think everybody did. I think he did. I think that injury that happened to him right after he was able to return after the COVID-19 protocols, after the trade, and then he came back and he just got started and then was injured and off for a bit. I just, I'm wondering, are we going to see in the playoffs the Pierre-Luc Dubois that showed up playing for Columbus when they took it to Tampa? Like who's going to show up here? And I'm really interested to see what we get from him in the playoffs. And I'm wondering if you have an opinion about that, because this is where, in my opinion, this is where he needs to come out now.
Well, this is why they traded for him. I mean, let's face it. And listen, I agree. I mean, at times his play was underwhelming. I mean, and listen, they traded Patrik Laine to get him. I mean, this isn't just another guy that come in and, fair or unfair, when you make a deal of that significance and trade Roslovic and Laine to get a player, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, especially playing in a Canadian market. That being said, I think Maurice has done a lot of tinkering. The blender's been basically on nonstop with Dubois. Is he playing in the middle? Is he playing on the wing? Moving him around with other players. And, part of that, I think, was to figure out where the best fit is come playoff time. And, it was really unfortunate to see him.
Do we know that? Do we know where that best fit is yet? And that's where I think there's been a bit of a failure here.
For tonight, no. I mean, part of it's on the player too, though. I mean, it's not like he didn't get plenty of opportunities with so many guys. I really think that the combination of Dubois and Ehlers is the one that will be a constant. And whether it's Paul Stastny, whether it's Andrew Kopp, I do think that will sort of be the group. And again, we won't see that again tonight because Nikolai Ehlers isn't back yet. But what I'm looking for Pierre-Luc Dubois is the player that we've seen, especially in those Toronto games. If you remember the games here, they didn't go well for the Winnipeg Jets, and most of the other team didn't play very well. But Maurice said afterwards, those were Dubois' two best games with the Jets. And part of the reason why I think the coach was so high on it was because how physical he was. Those were some nasty games, and he was not afraid to get in the corners. He was using the power that he brings to the table, and that's the player that they're hoping to see tonight. So, how the chemistry on that second line, assuming that that's where he is, I think it's still hopefully that develops. Nikolai Ehlers makes a massive difference, but for a team like Edmonton, with the way that the Winnipeg Jets are playing, I think just having that big body and the ability to be physical, and a guy that's done it before in the playoffs and knows the pressure on him to perform at this point. Listen, he scores tonight and the Jets win, or, has a good series and they move on. The entire regular season, much like the slump at the end of the year for the team, is going to be forgotten. But at the same time, if things don't turn around, there'll be a lot of consternation about this deal going forward. And I'm sure you agree, Leah, that trade is one, like, we'll be talking on sports talk programs, radio for 20 years about the Laine Dubois trade.
Oh, how could you not? You got three first-round picks going both ways, right? It's crazy. But, and I just want to be clear about that. I'm not looking – listen, if he adds an offense, amazing if he can chip in for the offense. I'm looking for that Pierre-Luc Dubois who's going to shut people down.
Yes.
Exactly what you said, Huss. I'm not looking for him to be an offensive threat. I am looking for him to contain the offense and use that two-way game of his. And that's really what I'm hoping that we see in the Pierre-Luc Dubois that steps into the Jets lineup tonight. Granted, coming off of an injury, we never know actually how healthy these players are because you want to get them back into the lineup. So we'll see what he's able to do. But I really hope that we see that guy on both sides of the puck tonight, and more so on that shutdown type defensive, using that physicality that you spoke to.
Hey, I gotta ask you, your Hextall on Hockey NOB earlier this week, you talked about Ryan Lombard, and lo and behold, who was the hero last night for the Panthers in another crazy game? I mean, listen, I'm hoping the Panthers win tomorrow just so we're guaranteed of getting 6 or 7 games in this series, because it has been that good. But give us your highlights. What have you enjoyed the most from the Stanley Cup playoffs outside of these Canadian series that we've seen so far?
Yeah, Florida and Tampa has been a delight. The Sunshine State Showdown, we have been waiting for this for years, to see these two teams be able to find their way to each other in the playoffs, and it has been electric. Ryan Lombard, I mean, what a story, and what a crafted play on that overtime goal, and it was played to perfection from the face-off in the defensive end, and then them getting it out up to him, and away he went. It's such an amazing story. I mean, this is his fourth playoff game, his first playoff career point, and he's bounced around and been in every league and learned what it takes. So I'm a big fan of his. I love watching him. He gets under skin. He does it the right way. He doesn't take penalties for it. He's great. But that's been the series that has delighted me. I have to say, I've really enjoyed Pittsburgh and New York as well. The Islanders and Penn series, I think, has been dynamite. That game last night, I had to laugh when, you've got Crosby and Letang and all the big boys for Pittsburgh in the bin, and then 5 guys for the Islanders, and the Isles go out and score, and they're cheering, and it was so crowded. It was hysterical to see all those boys in the bin. But I love that. I think that's the biggest thing for me about these playoffs is do I want to have the divisions the way they are and only divisional play next year? No, I don't. But I will say this. I don't need to see every team play every 32 teams next year. I like the more divisional play so that when we get to playoffs, they frickin' hate each other. And that is why the first round has been so electric, because these teams have played so much this season that they already don't like each other. And I just feel that hockey has missed that. They've missed the hate, and it takes, too long to get there in the playoffs. And because of these divisional rounds and playing within your division so much, we have that. So we'll wait and see what happens next year. But I think this first round has just been awesome. But those are the 2 series that I'm just loving right now.
Oh, man. Leah, this has been so much fun. I can't wait to do this again with you very soon. Once again, for folks that want to check out what you're doing, calling the games next week for the women's hockey on Sportsnet. I guess it'll be on Sportsnet streaming through the week. And then when will the TV broadcast that you and Cass will be doing?
So Cass and I will be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So those dates, I believe, are the 28th, 29th, and 30th. And they're all kind of in Manitoba time around that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock range before the action kind of gets going in the evening. So we ask that you tune in, check out these women. They're the best at what they do, and it'll be on Sportsnet proper.
You are the best, my dear, and we'll look forward to having another chat soon with some more exciting news as you keep on pushing forward. Have a great one. Enjoy this game tonight, and have a nice long weekend, not that we can do anything right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, Hush. You take care.
Thanks, Leah. You're the best. There she is, Leah Hextall. Give her a follow on Twitter. You can check out her commentaries on CGOB with Hextall on hockey, and next week, calling the women's hockey event out from Calgary. It was some awesome stuff with Leah Hextall. We'll get into more Jets talk with Brandon Rewucki coming up in just a couple minutes. This segment, as always, brought to you by our friends at Nick and Nikki DQ. Now, end of the program, as I mentioned, Nick's given us another DQ cake to give away to one of the people. Today, we're going to do it with people in chat. We've got a very fun way of doing it. So if you are, stick around until the end of the program. We'll get to that. And, what a great way to, listen, there's not much else going on. So you're going to be on the couch. You're going to be eating. Why not grab a DQ cake for the fam on the weekend? Or maybe a quick little drive-through for some eats before some matinee games. Or you've got to try that drumstick blizzard. DQ Northgate, DQ Niverville, DQ Polo Park, and DQ St. Anne's. Big thanks to Nick and Nikki for their support of us. Assiniboia Downs begins live racing on Monday. Darren Dunn's going to join us on Tuesday to discuss opening night, some big stakes races on Tuesday and Wednesday. But until then, get that HPIBet.com account ready to go. Remis and I will be making daily wagers beginning on Monday's program on the live racing out at Assiniboia Downs, and you'll be able to watch it right on the site as well. And don't forget, 6:45, the guys get going with the ASD live show, give you some insight as to what is happening. And I also want to shout out, and I will say this, you still have time to order some delicious Little Brown Jugs for home delivery for the weekend. If you get that one in before 2 p.m., I believe their tweet said today, you can get same-day city delivery. And they still do have the free camping mug promo, which basically you just go to littlebrownjug.ca. Beautiful new website. They've relaunched it this week. It's easier than ever to order beer, merchandise. And as we mentioned, they've got those same-day city orders on home delivery. All you want to do is add 24 Little Brown Jug brews or more and a camping mug to your cart, and the camping mug is on them. Oh, look at Remis. He's got the site right up on. Like, that is expert production right there. Way to go, Reem. And again, 17-ounce camping mug, perfect for your favorite coffee, and a full can of your favorite Little Brown Jugs. So go right now, littlebrownjug.ca. I will suggest that mixer pack, the Good Times pack, because it's got both the summer lager and the Hefeweizen in. Love the summer lager. Highly recommend it. It'd be nice if it was a little nicer outside to really get it. So it may be a 1919 weekend. Either way, whatever your favorite LBJ product is, littlebrownjug.ca, and they will get you set up. Now, we'll get to our lines for Cool Bet a little bit later on. Brandon Rewucki is going to join us in a minute. But before we get into that, let's do a little PGA Championship update for Breezy Bend Country Club. If you're thinking about an amazing spot for you and the family to play golf, Breezy Bend is the spot. They're full for this year. They do have a growing waiting list. So if you're thinking about next season, find out more, breezybend.ca, or give them a call and talk to our good friend Corey Johnson. But our report is this. Phil Mickelson is leading the PGA Championship. That's right. Phil was 3 under today, 69. He is at the top of the leaderboard as we tape right now, 5 under par. And my man, Victor Hovland, is 1 shot back. He's just 2 holes in, birdied, got a birdie in the first 2. He's 4 under. 3 under is a group including Brandon Grace, Martin Laird, Keegan Bradley, Brooks Koepka. Those guys are both going off in the afternoon. And then there's Corey Connors, who is at 2 under for the tournament. Corey was leading 5 under coming into today, but had a real rough round. It was 5 over on the 16th tee. Fortunately for Corey, he birdied, and he started on the back. So he birdied 7, and his final hole of the day, 9, to get to 2 under par. Still tied for 9th right now. In great shape, the Canadian is. My guy, Sungjae Im, is also at 2 under par. 2 sort of is that number right now. But, if you're even and around even, you're looking good. For those of you that are sweating out a DraftKings lineup, the projected cut right now is 3 over par. And Canadian Adam Hadwin is in at 7. So if a few more guys drop a few shots, it could get to 4. And that would be nice, both for Adam Hadwin and Mackenzie Hughes, who are at 4 under par right now. Let's get Michael Remis back in here for a minute before we get Rewucki onto the program. Reem, as you popped up very expertly during the Leah Hextall interview, we do have some clarification from Coach Paul Maurice. PLD in, Ehlers out, but optimistic that we could be seeing 27 back in the Jet lineup when the series returns to Winnipeg.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to manage some other stuff back here. But yeah, that was the news today. We all got excited when Pierre-Luc Dubois and Ehlers were not wearing the non-contact jersey. They were wearing a regular jersey, and you thought, okay, maybe they're in. Dubois came out. He said, hey, I'm in. I'm 100%. I'm ready to go. Had no regrets about playing in the last game of the season. He wants to be ready. He wants to be in a routine for the playoffs, and here he is. We all have high expectations. Whatever happened with the Jets in the regular season, I think we can forget about it. Who cares about the losing streak? All that matters is how they played last game, and while it wasn't the most exciting brand of hockey, it was a winning brand of hockey, and we hope they can continue with that tonight. And Pierre-Luc Dubois and Ehlers, not in. Maurice says Game 3 looking hopeful. So we will, we'll wait and see for Game 3, but as of now, and I don't know, maybe Maurice pulls a fast one and, puts Ehlers in on the lineup card, but he said no. He said he's not in. So we will wait for Game 3 then with Nikolai Ehlers. One at a time here.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we'll I guess we'll get to more on the Jet lineup and the series coming up with Brandon Rewucki in just a minute. Interesting report I see on the ticker. Rick Tocchet and Smiling Bruce Boudreau among the coaches for the next Sabres head coach. Don Granato is in the mix. I don't care whether it's Buffalo or elsewhere in the league, Reem. I just hope that Smiling Bruce is back behind the bench of some NHL team next season.
Yeah, he was so good, coaching Minnesota, Washington, Anaheim. Never really had that playoff success. What are you laughing at?
Well, you're so busy there in the back. People are wondering whether you're selling something on Facebook again.
Okay, I'm trying to get Rewucki's camera on here and the thing, and so if you saw my setup, I want to be looking at the camera. People were getting mad that I wasn't looking at the camera when we started. So I literally have my camera right in front of my TV. So when I want to do stuff on the computer, I have to look around it. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm trying to I can't find this thing. I had the image and I lost it. So I don't know. It's gonna say Leah Hextall's name under Brandon. I lost this file. I literally.
Hey, Rewucki's been called worse before. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. By the way, Brandon is going to join us. If you haven't already subscribed or checked out his podcast, Skates and Plates, talking all things Jets, and as much as I love talking Jets, and we do this every day, really love the food talk on it as well. Make sure to check that out. Look for it, Skates and Plates, and subscribe a little later on. So listen, while Remis gets that put together, I will let you know, if you're just popping in right now, we're doing something very fun at the end of the program, giving away a DQ cake. So hang out, you YouTubers, everyone that's with us today, and we'll do that a little later on after we have Brandon Rewucki join us. And Reem, can I get to Rue right now, or are you still working through a few things to make sure that he isn't introduced as Leah Hextall on the program when we bring him in?
Like, it's gonna say he's Sean Reynolds, but I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what happened to it. So yeah, just bring him on. Who cares? It'll say.
Can you do a blank one? Can we do a blank one so people don't think that Sean Reynolds has even better hair than he did before? He'll disappoint people on television if we're telling them that.
Here, I'll just make. I don't know. We'll just bring him on. Bring him on. I'll fix it.
All right. Without further ado, regardless of what it may say on the ticker, you know who it is. It is the man himself, Brandon Rewucki, back with us on Winnipeg Sports Talk, talking Jets, talking playoffs. Rue, what's up? How are you, man? Great to have you back on the program.
I'm good. Yeah, in the Reynolds household, we're doing pretty good right now.
Yes, if you're listening on the podcast and wondering what the hell we're talking about, it's just it's a box, a technical thing. Something is the Brandon Rewucki Chiron has disappeared, and well, we're going with him as Sean Reynolds today, but Reynolds would never wear a hat on, and actually it's an interesting look for you considering how big a part of your brand has been the hair, but it's even tilted to the side, Brandon, when you're wearing a hat.
It's that powerful, really. It calls the shots like it always does. I gotta say too, I've been noticing the shots that everybody's taken at me over the past couple weeks. We don't have to necessarily name names.
Well, we can. Jim Toth, and I believe it was my brother Destruction who, while a big fan, did make the original claim that you combed your hair with a pork chop before coming out to the program. That was the infamous line that Jim then doubled down on when he joined us on the program. Do you have any rebuttal or public comment for that?
Yeah, I would like to make a statement. I'll keep it short and brief. But a lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of sheep, especially aging sheep with thin wool. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll let the hair do the talking, speak for itself. Yeah, but I'm rocking the hat today. I got no sleep. I just didn't feel like really doing a whole lot. I put on clothes, so that was pretty much the major victory for me today.
Stepping up, I guess it's just another day in the household. How is the growing family, by the way? Before we get to Jets Oilers talk, things are good back on the homestead.
Oh yeah, everything's. It's funny. There was a new game. The little one has created today. It's called I Gouge the Daddy. So she's really into that. I'm not as big of a fan as she is, but
it's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. She's moving all over the place already, so it's never a dull moment here. And then in the meantime, we got the furry baby that's constantly asking for attention too. So I got my hands full.
Oh, not only do you have your hands full, but you have the proper Chiron. Look at Remis, just magic man, just making things happen right away. That's how it goes on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Reynolds out, Rewucki in. Although we will have Rennie on, and we'll check out the program with the guys after the program today. All right, let's get to it, dude. A lot of worry, a lot of consternation about the hockey club, and a lot of people that, sort of rolled their eyes when they heard Paul Maurice at the last couple of weeks of the season saying, as bad as this is, well, maybe not necessary, but this is something that, will make us a better team when we get to the playoffs. And I got to say, through one game, I think he was right. That was a far better defensive performance. It seemed like the team really bought in, accepted what they needed to do against a team like the Edmonton Oilers, and they got a win. What did you think about the start of the series, considering, well, maybe the feeling around Winnipeg going into game number one?
Yeah, it's funny because leading up, once the regular season ended going into the playoffs, my thought was they're saying all the right words, but talk is cheap, right? Like they've been saying a lot of the right things during the regular season, and we just didn't see a whole lot of improvement or tangible results out of that, and including that, what was it, 7-9 game losing streak? I kind of forget now, however long it ended up being. So I was just curious to see what the initial response would be, if they'd be able to back it up, and give them full credit. They did, right? They were, I don't know if it was the best defensive game performance by the Jets this season, but they answered the bell big time when it came to back pressure, when it came to, as good as a Winnipeg Jets team can do, playing positionally solid inside their own zone and for the most part, keeping their assignments in check. I was really impressed. And the main thing, of course, being that, you keep 97 and 29 off the score sheet. But the one thing, sorry about that. The one thing is that became evident to me right off the bat watching that one is Edmonton's bottom six is awful. Like they're just terrible. And this is why it's so crucial, not necessarily to, constantly keep McDavid and Draisaitl off the score sheet, but, keep them in check enough that no matter who's in the lineup and who's healthy, Winnipeg's going to win that battle every single game of this series. And when Toninato and Stanley are, kick it in like they did in the third period there, it's curtains. And that's why that game was so big. Like you had to win that one, because if you lose a game where your fourth line plays as well as it did, and McDavid and company were held off the score sheet, I don't know if the Jets, even as early as it is in the series, would have been able to come back and, win 4 out of 6 games. So winning that one with how the unsung heroes performed was absolutely crucial for me.
You know what? It's so funny you bring that up, dude, because I felt, once they got the goal to go ahead in the third period and you're going into, the second half of the third, up 1, knowing that you've got a goal from Tucker Poolman and Toninato from Logan Stanley has put you ahead. It reminded me of the Montreal game a couple Fridays ago when Trevor Lewis was the guy that scored twice and got the Jets up 3-1 in the middle of the losing streak. And, I said to Remis and the guys, I mean, that is one of those games that, you're desperate for a win. You get an incredible contribution from unlikely sources. You have to get the 2 points. And they didn't. And that to me, that was as disappointing maybe as the 6-1 loss to Edmonton earlier in the week. To me, that sort of 4-day period was where this team bottomed out. And coming out of that game, they were better. Now, again, it's not to go down the list of the final games of the regular season, but to your point, if you get Dominic Toninato putting you up in his third game as a Winnipeg Jets, and your third defense pairing, the much maligned third defense pairing, the pairing that has apparently been, there's no depth. They don't have guys. Those guys are doing it for you. You better damn well sure you finished the job. And to their credit, they did. And now, Brandon, bringing them into game 2, getting Dubois back, expecting Ehlers back potentially on Sunday, all of a sudden it's gone from a lot of doom and gloom heading into the playoffs to a lot of Jet fans feeling a lot of legitimate optimism as to what we might see in this series going forward. It couldn't have started much better, as we mentioned.
No, and I kind of joked about it on my podcast that, if you asked me before the season, I would have guessed Toninato is an Italian pasta, not the game one hero for the Winnipeg Jets. And now it's to the point where you're not taking him out of the lineup, right? Like he's been surprisingly out of nowhere, super impactful. Going back to, I don't know if he got 1 or 2 regular season games in, but he looked good at the end of the year. His first game as a Jet was game 55.
Yeah. And he only played a few games for the Moose. And it is funny having this Moose team so close and the connections between the coaches. And Maurice talked about this. It wasn't like Maurice had been, paying close attention to Dominic Toninato and what he'd been doing. But he said it was the other coaches and the coaches with the taxi squad saying, you know what, we really think that this is the guy that will come in. And as I said, part of the reason why I think Maurice deserves a lot of credit for game 1 was the way the team was prepared, but also the lineup decisions. I mean, you take risks and you take chances, and usually, the guys you're putting in on the third defense pair and the fourth line are not really going to be the difference makers, but that's exactly what it was. And I joke, Brandon, that 2 weeks ago, even the most hardcore Jet fan wouldn't have been able to pick Dominic Toninato out of a Police lineup. And yet here he is being, one of the heroes of game number 1 as we go into game number 2. And I'm with you. Not surprising. I mean, Murat has, and we'd speculated this yesterday, if one of Ehlers or Dubois comes in, it's probably Vesalainen that comes out. Certainly not anything to do with his play. I thought he was dangerous and really was effective. And that's a great sign for, when somebody else gets nicked up or comes out. But obviously Vesalainen out, because how are you going to break up that fourth line with Toninato the way they played? And I mean, credit Nate Thompson, assists on the first and second goal. I mean, listen, everything came up Maurice in game 1. Let's just say it.
Yeah, and I'd like to personally thank Nate Thompson for saving his playoff explosion the year after he leaves the Philadelphia Flyers. So shout out to Nate Thompson. That was probably the biggest guarantee, actually, now that I think of it. You should have took Nate Thompson in your DraftKings pool or whatever. But, it's funny. It reminds me, too, going back to that run in 2018, which everyone on the Jets seems so keen to bring back every time we talk playoffs. You remember who scored the first game-winning goal in playoff history for the Jets? It was Joe Morrow.
Morrow.
Right? Like,
the series winner, yeah.
yeah. Like, this team has they just find a way to get some of these unsung heroes to perform for them. And, on an off night when, there wasn't a whole lot from the second line, Vesalainen was good, but no production. I thought Stastny and Kopp maybe had some quiet nights by their standards. It's wild to think that those were the guys that were going to step up for them. And on top of it, I was actually thinking this right before the goal. I was kind of in my head getting on Logan Stanley a bit for just shooting the puck at will from the point, right? Like there's no other play for him. It's just let's blast it on net and see what happens. And I'm kind of like, well, maybe a little selection here would probably do this team well offensively. And then, of course, the next one he fires onto the net ends up being the game winner. He looked really good, I thought. He was like, I wondered if, as a rookie, and we've just seen the meteoric rise out of him this season, would he be a little overwhelmed by the speed and the physicality of the postseason? He looked really poised to me. I was really impressed, and I don't expect any changes to be made, but Derek Forbort didn't have the best game on the back end. You have to wonder at some point, if Stanley keeps playing the way that he has, does he maybe get a chance beside Neil Pionk and you slot Forbort down there with Pullman? And, putting aside the goal, I thought Tucker Pullman had himself a really strong night as well.
I mean, both of them. And I'll tell you what, I mean, don't take it from us. Like, look at the box score. When was the last time we saw a third pairing play 18 minutes in a game? Yeah. I mean, it was basically Morrissey 22, Pionk 20, Pullman 18, and Stanley 17. And that is not something we've been accustomed to seeing at any point this year. And, third period tight game against the Edmonton Oilers. If there was ever a time you thought that the coach might lean heavily on the top two pairings, that was it. And he didn't, frankly, because those guys deserve to be out there.
Yeah, they play. Their play warranted it. And this is just, we've kind of seen this from Logan Stanley for a while now. And he's turned the Ville Heinola debate into something that's, non-existent right now. And it's less so about Ville Heinola's play, more so about Logan Stanley being a bona fide NHLer. And so, again, you go back to the unsung heroes aspect of it. Nobody knew who Dominic Toninato was before the season started. There was literally nobody on the planet, maybe outside the Logan Stanley household, that would have said, yeah, that's going to be a player that plays regular minutes for the Jets this season. And he's just gone ahead and, basically since he's entered the lineup in his first game of the year, outside of a hiccup here or there, he totally looks like he belongs, at the very least, as an effective third pairing defenseman.
It's funny you say that, and I'm going to give myself the full, if you're watching right now, the full Barry Horowitz, the pat on the back. I think my best take since we have started Winnipeg Sports Talk, if I'm not mistaken, is episode 6, the second Monday, and Stanley had just come back into the lineup, and Bolio was out, but had not been announced he was out long term. And he went in and played the game on the Saturday night against the Leafs. And I came on Monday and had said, guys, I've had a revelation. Nate Bolio is getting Wally pipped, and Stanley's not coming out of the lineup. And, it was sort of like, what do you mean? And it was just that every time he came in, he played with more confidence. He was more comfortable out there and seemed to be getting better. And he absolutely delivered that. And that's why, to be honest, personally, it was a little disappointing after the deadline when they got Jordy Ben in and then decided they were going to go to this rotation. And Stanley was the guy that came out. I thought it maybe hampered him a little bit when he came back in. But the minute he played a couple games in a row and I think felt comfortable that this was his job to lose and stayed in there, he's, continued to be on that positive trajectory. And, it went from the first Monday, it was he's not coming out of the lineup. The second Monday, the take was he's going to be protected in the expansion draft. And then we talked about that for 2 weeks because at the time it seemed like, what are you serious? I mean, that was not part of any narrative around Logan Stanley. And to be honest with you, Rewucki, I mean, I don't know if there's many people right now that would even contemplate the possibility of losing Logan Stanley. And I would imagine that Paul Maurice is one of those guys as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's probably 50-50 at this point. I would imagine amongst the Jets fan base where, would you expose Stanley or DeMello at this point? I mean, for me, I like Dylan DeMello's game, so I would still lean towards him. The funny part of it is, as it stands right now, it's, in my opinion, not going to matter because if Mason Appleton is up for grabs, I think Seattle's going to grab Mason Appleton, and they just picked themselves up a cheap second line forward.
If you're Seattle, let me ask you this, though. If you're Seattle and you're Ron Francis and thinking about the long-term franchise, who would you rather take, DeMello or Stanley? Like, if they're both available. I think they take Stanley all day long, like 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's tight, honestly. I don't think either. I think you could make a case for either one is essentially my point. I'm not going to lose sleep over, somebody picking DeMello or somebody picking Stanley. I guess just Dylan DeMello has a longer track record of solid results playing against higher competition. Logan Stanley so far has pretty strong results against sheltered competition, with the potential to grow into something much more down the road. So you're kind of playing the potential versus the floor game.
Yeah, but if I'm an expansion team, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, listen, no offense to Dylan DeMello, because I think he's a very important player on this club, but I mean, are you telling me that you can't go find some good stay-at-home defenseman that'll score you 0 goals a year on free agents? I mean, because there's no Logan Stanleys out there at free agency. And, if you're building a team going forward, the potential of hitting that lottery ticket with a huge boost for the club, I think is far more enticing. Because listen, DeMello, you pretty much, what you see is what you get. Quiet, calm, do some right things, make his partner better, but is not going to be a guy that I think is going to be, a cornerstone of your franchise going forward. And listen, I'm not saying that Stanley will be either, but listen, if I'm with Seattle and I'm looking into the future, a guy with his size, everything that he's brought in, and how he's grown this year in his first year in the NHL, to me would make him a more attractive pick for an expansion team. Listen, if I'm a contending cup contender right now and I'm looking for a guy to fill up my roster, maybe we're talking a different story. But this is about much more than next year, I think, for a team that's just entering into the league.
Well, although if you're an expansion team coming in, I think you automatically become a cup contender, right? Because Vegas show this is easy. We just pick a bunch of guys nobody wants and away we go.
Brandon Rewucki's with us here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Let me ask you this. I know we're obviously obsessing over this Jets-Oilers series, but what's been your favorite series from south of the border, from the 6 series that have been playing in front of fans?
Yeah, I don't think it's all that close either. I mean, it's got to be the Battle of Florida, right? The hockey hotspot.
It's been unbelievable.
The games are just out of control. And
you knew it was going to take a global pandemic to make the fans of South Florida look like the best in the league.
I know.
Yeah, that's where we are right now, dude.
They're legit. Like, the first 2 games were electric. And, I watched a little bit of the Panthers this season, not a ton, admittedly, but count me aboard the Ryan Lomberg fan club. I mean, this kid is unreal. I don't know if anybody's called him this the Lamborghini. Like, I'm a huge fan. I'm all aboard the Lamborghini train. But the Panthers they're legit too. Like, they're really pushing Tampa Bay. And what I love the most is, we're kind of seeing shades of this in the Winnipeg series where, there's a lot more focus defensively. And, let's not try to run and gun when McDavid's out there on the ice. Florida's like, screw that. Let's try and run and gun and take out the defending Stanley Cup champs, and let's beat them at their own game. So it makes for tremendously entertaining hockey. We'll see if it's a winning strategy for Florida in the end. But, I thought Tampa was pretty lucky to win the first game. You can make the case the Panthers should have that 2-1 series lead. But for me, that's the series to watch, no doubt about it. When I check the sked each day, I make sure to go out of my way to have that one ready to go. Outside of that, Yeah, I mean, Toronto-Montreal was all right last night. I mean, the Tavares thing kind of overshadowed everything. You know, the first 10 minutes were really great. I thought the game completely changed after that. I have enjoyed Islanders Penguins as well. It's a little out of character for New York to get into some of these scoring outbursts, right? 4 or 5 goals a game from them, but that series has been entertaining. But there's no doubt and you know what? I will say Colorado too. I don't know if anyone's going to get close to them.
Well, I mean, listen, when we've all been waiting all season long for this Colorado Vegas series, and to be honest, after the first period last night in Minnesota, I wasn't sure we were going to get that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how we talk about those challenges of goals. But I mean, that to me, that Peter DeBoer challenge offside of a goal that would have put Minnesota up 3-0 completely flipped the game. Completely
might have saved their season.
Well, it absolutely. I think it did, Brandon. And here's the other thing that's been absolutely bizarre about that series is that every game, one team has completely dominated the first period. They've gone to the dressing room, and it's literally as if the ice has been tilted, and whoever had the horrible first period has taken it right back to their opponent. It happened in game 1. It was the Vegas that was all over Minnesota. By the time they got to the midway point of the second period, it was Minnesota pushing it. They end up winning in OT. And it was the exact same thing last night. I mean, Vegas went from having 4 shots and being down potentially 3-0 in the first to dropping 22 on Cam Talbot and going into the third period with a 3-2 lead. I can't say enough about the Wild, though, to be honest with you.
They're awesome.
Jet fans that are used to that slow, boring, sleepy Wild team that we saw in the Central Division for so long are going to be stunned when they see this team come to Bell MTS Place next year if they haven't seen what Guerin and Evanston have been able to do in a very short time with some pretty significant cap challenges.
Yeah, with Phil the Thrill's career winding down in Arizona, it's Kirill the Thrill right now. Like he's worth the price of admission. I love watching him play so much. And if they can get another, dynamo beside him next year, they're going to be a really, really tough out. So I thought, Colorado was really fortunate to avoid that matchup because I think Minnesota is going to be a tough out. And I do expect that series to go the distance. The one thing, too, that's popped up, and it's why I know everyone's jacked for Colorado Vegas in round 2, and they think that's going to be, basically hell in a cell. I think the Avs are going to run right through Vegas. I really do. And I think the one thing we're seeing with the Golden Knights, and this goes back to last postseason too, is, they're going to outshoot you a bunch, but they really struggle to finish their chances. And Mark Stone's outstanding, and he's great. But this has been a few playoffs in a row now where they're struggling to score goals consistently. And when they go up against Colorado, you basically have to put up a 3 spot every single game. And I don't know if Fleury's glove hand, as hot as it's been through the first 3 games in that series, I don't know if that's going to be enough against McKinnon and company.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of with you as well. Now, you, of course, are a Flyer fan. Sorry about that. But you've paid quite a bit of attention to the East. And to me, the East coming into the playoffs was the most probably wide open. I mean, the Islanders were first place for the majority of the season. They sort of finished up post-trade deadline, kind of like the Jets did. But then there was Paul Mary, of course, showing up in the playoffs with an OT winner in game 1 and getting things going. But Pittsburgh, Islanders, the Boston-Washington game, just an OT fest. I mean, going in, was there a favorite of those 4 based on the amount of hockey you'd watched in that division this year? And where are you at right now with what we've seen?
Yeah, I like Boston going into the playoffs. I don't know if I feel the same way, to be honest. I just thought with the way they were playing down the stretch, they were going New York Giants on everybody, right? It was the end of the year. What team's the hottest? It's Boston, and they're going to find a way to roll past everyone. And I don't know. I think the Caps have looked better than Boston has so far this series. So I don't know. I still don't know where to lean in this one. Like you said, it's so wide open. I mean, I'm not going to be shocked if the Islanders come back to win that series. I also wouldn't be shocked if Pittsburgh goes to the Cup final. If you had to make me pick, I guess I would still take Boston at this point, but that is there's just no confidence in that pick anymore. The main reason might be just that, Washington has this stable of goalies they're going through. You don't really know who's going to play each night. Jari's been up and down for Pittsburgh. Varlamov's been awful for the Islanders. So you wonder if Sorokin gets the call in game 4. Maybe Boston with Tuukka Rask is the most stable in net, and I might lean towards them. But yeah, there's absolutely zero confidence with that pick.
Well, I tell you what, bottom line is it's been so great to see the atmospheres in these buildings, even with partial crowds right now. And you realize how integral fans are to the sport, pro sports, period. But especially Stanley Cup playoffs. And yeah, it's disappointing that we've got empty buildings here in Canada while everything's going else around. But I will say the quality of the hockey, especially in those series that we've seen kind of get into it with fans in the building, has been, I mean, beyond what I expected. And really, it started off with that Tampa, Florida game that I said on the program earlier this week. I mean, if we get 2 or 3 games that are as good as that in the entire playoffs, we'll be lucky as hockey fans because it was that damn good. And then last night, they pretty much did it again.
Yeah, and I don't know if you read the story in The Athletic about new fans watching that as their first game or one of their first games in Florida. And is this what it's like all the time? And they're like, no, not really. Or else hockey would probably be number one amongst the 4 sports in North America. But it was just cool that, something like that alone could be a game changer for especially a Panthers organization that, there's been basically no success since John Van Beesbrook, and they're just dying to have a legitimate fan base down south in Miami again. So, I mean, that would be great to see, but I just thought it was especially jarring. I think the 2 worst games of the playoffs so far have been the 2 series openers up in Canada. And it's so noticeable. You can't ignore it, right? And I don't even blame the players necessarily, right? Because I didn't think it would be that big, and I thought the hockey was really good in the bubble last year. But when you compare a game down south right now to game 1 in Edmonton between the Oilers and Jets, it's night and day. So it's unfortunate that it's probably going to continue like that for the rest of the North Division playoffs. But I just can't wait, man. I cannot wait until let's hope it's game 1 next year here in Winnipeg, because Bell MTS Place is going to be a gong show, and that's going to be that might be as fun of an atmosphere as the first game back, the first playoff game, all those things. It's going to be so damn good to watch a Jets game with the power of 15,000 plus here in Winnipeg again.
Amen to that. Brandon Rewucki's with us. Make sure you're subscribing to his podcast. It's called Skates and Plates. So you did one. Did you do one after game 1? Yeah. It's
out there right now. So game 1 recap.
What were you eating?
I dove into a little bit how the Jets shut down McDavid, and then Friday's usually our food episode, but I switched it up this week and spoke with Ryan Moyer, who's the Jets.
Yes, Wood Jerseys, our pal, making those things. Those are sweet.
They're unreal. Like they're sexy is really the only word that properly describes it. I talked with him, and he kind of went through what it's been like, working in the NHL over the last, 150 games with no fans in the arenas, but then just what it's like building these masterpieces and all the work. And, he had a funny joke that, I should be making these out of gold instead of wood because gold's probably cheaper than timber these days. But they're works of art though. And to me, it's kind of like the prime addition to any man cave out there. And with Father's Day coming up, it's the perfect gift for the old man in your family. So it was a really good chat just talking with him. It's a local company. They're, slowly going to be grabbing every single team soon. But in the meantime, they got both Heritage Jets jerseys available for purchase, blue and white. And on top of it, he was nice enough to give Skates and Plates a promo code. So if you use promo code SKATESPLATES10, $10 off shipping. There you
go. Yeah, check it out. Wood Jerseys. They've done a really great job. And Ryan's a good friend of ours doing all the stats work for the games over the last few years for the Jets and going forward. Finish up. What's your feeling about this game tonight?
Concern. I thought McDavid and Draisaitl, but McDavid in particular had a bit of an off night. And like we saw in the series against Chicago last year, when he was quiet, he generally would erupt and basically put Edmonton on his back in the following games. So I think the Jets are going to be in tough for sure. I'm very intrigued to see 2 things. One now is playoff Pierre-Luc Dubois going to be making an appearance for Winnipeg here? Because he was, we all know what he did in Columbus the past 2 years. He was one of the best postseason performers in the NHL. And if he comes out and performs like that, then the Jets are probably feeling pretty good about their chances in this series. But 2 is going to be what Edmonton's response and their line juggling is going to be. Because I don't think we're going to see the same lineup up front for the Oilers in this one. I wonder if maybe a Nugent Hopkins goes on line 3, so they have some actual attack inside their bottom 6. And maybe we might even see McDavid and Draisaitl put together, because when those two were on the ice this year against Winnipeg, I think they outscored the Jets like 7-0, and the shots were just through the roof. So I'm intrigued to see what Edmonton's response is going to be, because all in all, I thought Winnipeg handled him about as good as he can these days, right?
Well, it's a stark contrast to everything that happened in the regular season when he ate the Jets' lunch every single time they played this year. And to your point on that, talking with Dustin Nielsen this morning on TSN 1260 in Edmonton, they're sort of thinking that we may very well see Tippett just push his chips all in and go with Draisaitl and McDavid. And if that's the case, does that change anything from Paul Maurice's standpoint as far as how he handles going up against those guys? We did see a lot of Scheifele's line against McDavid. And again, Tip's got the last change, so he'll dictate much of that. But is that the choice, or do we look for the Lowry line to go up against McDavid and Draisaitl if they are together at 5-on-5?
Yeah, you probably see a split. I think that's fair. I mean, as good as Adam Lowry's line is, those two are probably going to play like 28 minutes, honestly, in this game.
Yeah, for sure.
And, I mean, Mitch Marner played 27 last night. So you don't want to, as good as Adam Lowry is, I don't think you want to see him playing 28 minutes on the night. So I imagine it's going to be a pretty even split if McDavid and Draisaitl are together. I mean, obviously, I feel much more comfortable with Lowry's line on the ice defending than I would Scheifele's line in that scenario. But the one thing Winnipeg's going to have to do in this one is, and it's a fine line and it's tough, but they're going to have to generate a bit more offense. You could definitely tell that defensively, even when they're in the offensive zone, they were thinking defense first still. You're still going to have to generate some zone time and create something that way. And, with Dubois back in the lineup here, and if McDavid and Draisaitl are put together, I mean, Copp, Stastny, Dubois are going to have some juicy matchups, some like really, really winnable matchups. And even if they're only getting 15, 16 minutes even strength, I mean, there's the potential for that line to pot 2 or 3 in. And then all of a sudden, things are looking pretty rosy for Winnipeg.
Yeah, that certainly would flip the script, or at least the script that everyone thought they'd be seeing once this series gets going. When will you be putting out the next edition of Skates in Place? Are you going to be doing post games throughout, or is there a target date for the next time where you're rolling out?
Yeah, we'll see how long I stay awake tonight. If I'm able to crack open a post-game one, that one's definitely in the TBD category. If that's not the case, though, we're back on Tuesday. Every Tuesdays and Fridays, we're releasing episodes. So I can guarantee you a Tuesday spot. But if I'm feeling a little spicy and if the game goes a certain direction, maybe I'll drop something tonight too.
Beauty. Rue, always love having you on the program. Keep up the great work. You're always welcome here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. And here's hoping we've got a bit of a run coming up for the Jets and many more conversations like this in the next few weeks.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to join. It's a ton of fun. And we leave it a perfect time too, because I just realized I put some cold ones in the freezer and I think they're right at explosion point. So I'm ready to go. Let's get game 2 started right now, baby.
Jeez, it's almost 2:30. Time to get into that case.
It's 2:30 somewhere, so I'm ready to go.
Hey, it's a long weekend without much going on. Not even a yellow card for that move. Go get after it, buddy. Just make sure you're not too loose by the time we drop the puck tonight at 8.
Yeah, hey, you might want to. Maybe I should do a post-game recap on this one. You might want to tune into Skates in Place tonight.
Hell yeah. Folks, subscribe, Skates in Place. Check out Brandon's work covering the Jets, man, and having some fun on the Winnipeg food scene. It is great stuff, and we'll have Brandon back on again. Thanks, B. Always love having Brandon on the program. Just one of our pals, and heck of a great guy to talk hockey about. All right, well, big fun with Leah Hextall. Lots of great times with Brandon Rewucki. Going to give a shout out to our friends at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. World-class fly-in fishing right here in Winnipeg, where you can be on the lake in about 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg. Normally, they are packed with American guests through the month of June. As we all know, that ain't happening this year with the border being closed. So there are some rare availabilities in the month of June that normally aren't there. If you're thinking about a great vacation in Manitoba, you don't have to quarantine. Think about Aikens Lake. Look for them online at aikenslake.com, AIKENS, Or hit them up on Twitter at Aikens Lake. Our great friend Prit Turen running the show there with their wonderful staff. All right, let's get Remis back in here. And oh yeah, perfect. There's the Aikens Lake the website right there. Remis just continuing to step up the game. Lots going on at the command center today. Let's bring in the CTO back here after great chats with Leah Hextall and with Brandon Rewucki. You got a lot going on back there at the command center, Reem.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure everything out. I don't know what happened. I had Brandon's picture ready to go, and then I lost the file, and then I just had to make it again. I was like, screw it, I'm here. But yeah, it's been fun. We had Leah. We tested before with her. It worked. Brandon, he knows what's going on. So yeah, it's been great. We had some Jets news today. With Dubois going in. Very fired up chat. There's one chatter who seems to think Dubois is a negative in the lineup. And
I did notice some terrible takes in the chat today, but I figured I wouldn't get to it. Although I hope that AJ was just listening to Brandon talk about. I mean, the whole reason they traded for Pierre-Luc Dubois was frankly because of his playoff pedigree, what he did to the Maple Leafs a couple years ago, the way he played against Tampa. So certainly the hope is we will see POPLD coming up tonight when he's back into the lineup. Now, Reem, if you can, let's get the cool bet lines up for today's action. We've got 4 games in the NHL, beginning with Washington and Boston. But Reem, if you could you go through these? Could you start off with the Washington-Boston line and read these out? I need 2 seconds here. Perfect. I'll be right back.
First time in history here that I'm on the full screen. Doesn't happen too often, but we're here going through the lines. We got Washington plus 145, Boston minus 164. Boston the favorite here. They're leading the series 2-1. Every game going to overtime. We all remember the big gaffe for the 0-2 winner from Washington with their goalie and Schultz with the leaving the puck. Creeps up in the worst times. They're double overtime. Carolina, minus 132 against against Nashville. They're plus 116. Carolina leads that series 2-0. My pre-playoffs pick for the Stanley Cup. We got the Jets, plus 147 against the Oilers, minus 167. I don't think it's moved much since Dubois has been in. I did the lines before the show. And the Jets were plus 152, so it moved a little, nothing crazy. Finally, the last game of the night, the late one. Colorado minus 227 against St. Louis plus 198. I haven't seen anything with the Blues lineup. I'm assuming Justin Falk will be out. And I don't think we've had a official Kadri suspension, Huss, but I would assume that he's going to be suspended. I don't think I've actually seen anything.
Well, yeah, no, he's got the in-person hearing. And yes, you did hear the cat. I was so thirsty, everybody. I meant to grab my drink beforehand. I told Remis, I'm just going to go grab a drink. And then we started the show and I realized I didn't have one. And I've been dying for the last 40 minutes. So I appreciate that. And yes, I know everyone's saying it is a little brown jug.
He has a Hefeweizen.
I still have the summer lager, and I still have the Hefeweizen, and I've got some 1919s in the fridge, but it is only my Diet Pepsi because I do have to do Sportsnet this afternoon in Calgary again, so I can't be showing up half greased or lit as much as it would be fun to get into the Little Brown Jugs on Friday shows this afternoon. Not going to lie on that, but expert job delivering the lines today for Cool Bet Remis.
Everyone's getting on me. I guess I wasn't enthusiastic enough. I was just reading them. So I can redo it if you want and sound way more excited. I already got the great lines tonight. Here we go. Winnipeg Jets plus 147. What? Sorry,
Are you
guys.
trolling me? Me?
Me? I wasn't trolling you. I was just trying to do a radio guy. I guess I was just reading them. I don't know. Sorry. Chad.
Remis in warm-up history has done some Huss impersonations, and they are pretty funny, I will say.
Yeah. Schickster says, "Are you this energetic on my Twitch?" Way more. And someone suggested I smoked a fatty before. Yeah, right in my basement. No, come on, guys. So I'm
you
just
got to go out back for
lines.
that. He's not doing it right in the basement. His wife would kill him.
Yeah, I'm here reading the lines. So, all right, I'll put the lines. I'll put the lines up next time, like on the screen, so you don't have to look at my face. How about that? But
no, it's all good. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, allowing me to get the DP in. Now we have a couple of things that we still need to do before the end of the program. As I said, those are the lines. I will tweet them out at Sports Talk WPG. By the way, follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We got a nice bump with the cake contest that we did on Wednesday with everyone that followed us on Instagram and tagged somebody. And it was iPhone Benj that won the cake. Oh, did he? Yeah, let's see. He's probably all fired up about it. He was going to have everyone over, but then Pallister said, no, you can't do that. So Benji's cake party is canceled. But he was quite pumped to win. The first ever winner on the Wheel of Fortune here on Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. And we've got another one to give away this afternoon for Nick and Nikki DQ. Niverville, Northgate, Polo Park, and of course, St. Anne's. And just while, Remo, I think it was you that sent me that. A YouTube comment from one of our... Okay, there it is. Benj and the dog getting ready. iPhone Benj and iPhone dog. And they are ready to eat the ice cream cake. So anyways, great stuff. Congratulations to... Oh, and he's got a pretty sick... I knew he was a big Pokemon guy, but how about that Pokemon lid? That's probably worth about $400, I bet, Reem.
Is that what that is? Is that a Pokemon lid? I guess that's Pikachu, hey?
Oh, yeah, it looks like one of the Pokemon with some, Chinese or Japanese writing on it.
There you go. So, yeah, good.
Limited
yeah,
edition.
nice
Limited edition. Not
Must be.
readily available in North America. I'm sure there'll be a raffle for that at some point soon. So anyways, congratulations to Benj. So, folks, this is what we're going to do today for the cake. We're going to take... So what can we do? Okay, Remis, put my name in. Put your name in. And you know what? Put in DQ Nick in as well. None of us are eligible to win, but we do want us to be in the race in case, well, just for bragging rights, of course. But put it this way. If one of us win, we'll just go to the next placed individual for this. So tell me when you're ready. Remo, by the way, is a master typer. And we're going to be putting in some names of people in the chat. If you're with us right now, and listen, if you're watching from somewhere outside of the capital region, if you will, the Winnipeg area, Niverville area, southern Manitoba, we won't enter you because there's no way you're going to be able to get the cake. We're not sending an ice cream cake by a FedEx or something like that. However, everyone that's here right now, I'm going to pull a bunch of the names. If you've won something in the last couple weeks, I know Taylor's around. She won the pizza. Tracy as well. I'm going to grab some people that have not won yet, but some of the regulars that are here right now. So Reem, are you ready?
Okay. So this is normally, you play marbles on stream on Twitch. You can it enters automatically, but on YouTube you can't do that. So we could send everyone over to a chat, but we're just gonna select a bunch of people who are in this race, people who are in the chat. So
exactly. Okay. So I'm going to start giving you. Okay, we'll go T Kona Pauly. He's always here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Binaural.
Yeah.
He's always here. I see Sean Lishka. He's here. We'll go with Sean Lishka.
Okay.
Winnipeg Jets 280.
Okay.
Oh, Mark Sports Video is always with us. We'll definitely get him in there.
Yeah, but you gotta be in Winnipeg for this. I've seen some people take them out of the lineup here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're not in Winnipeg, you're not in on this. James Robinson is always with us. James, let us know if you're not in Winnipeg. We definitely got to put the sheriff, the GFL, Gregory Liverpool in. Yeah. We will put Tyson Ducharme, King Cake Baby over here. Yeah, Tyson's in. My favorite mascot in the NBA, King Cake Baby. Wayne, I'd put you in, but I know you're in Norway. I don't know how we'd be getting that over there. The Bullet's in Selkirk. He can come in to pick up a cake if he wins. Jeff Kabilas. Jeff's always with us. We'll go with Jeff. Mitch is with us, and Mitch, yes, you can pick yours up if you win in Niverville. Mitch is out in Motown. He's always with us as well.
Oh, that's what Motown is? I thought he was in like Detroit.
No, Morden, Manitoba. Come on, get.
Oh,
with
is that
it,
what
man.
it is? I
Get
didn't know
with
that.
it.
Okay,
and we'll go. Okay, you got Mitch in there, and
do
then
a couple
and
more. Just shout him out rapid fire. Do
Yeah.
a bunch
Okay, so
more.
we've got Godfather Mitch WHT, and then we have
got
also Mitch Jansen. Mitch Jansen's always with us as well.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see, who else do we have in here? Let's go Dennis Ferreira.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
and let's go Mal Paris. Mal Paris for sure. He is he's lactose intolerant, but he said it'll be worth it if he wins the DQ cake.
Okay.
So we'll get him
You
in
want to do
there.
a couple more?
Yep. We got a couple more in. Let's go with Travis.
Okay.
And let's go. Did I miss anybody? Oh, let's go with Rachel Richards.
Yeah.
Akash Bali.
Okay.
And Manny Fran.
Yeah, Manny Fran. All right, how many lines? We got like 20. We got 19 names here plus us 3, so 22.
Okay, well let's throw in Busplit. He's always with us. And and yes, unfortunately, if you were here, we would definitely have you in. And one more. Let's go Miller Time 1980.
Okay, so we
so
got like
again,
20. We got 20 names.
20.
in here.
All right, folks, this is the best. I am so fired up about this. This is Marbles on Stream. Everyone that we have just mentioned that we entered in this contest has a marble in this race. Remo, you can get this sucker up.
Okay, I'll pull it up in a sec.
And this is the way it's going to work. We've selected a course. Everyone has a marble in the race that we've just mentioned. The winning marble will win the Ice Cream Jets cake from Nick and Nicky DQ. And if Remis, myself, or DQ Nick wins the race, we will have the glory. We will have the gloating power. We will have the W, but we will give the cake to the next highest placing marble in the stream. Anyone, let's see here. Everyone's go yellow. Good luck, everyone. We're all ready to go. Here we go. Marbles on stream.
Okay, so
There's
here.
everyone's names. You can see it. We'll probably do some commentary as we go, but Remo, I will let you officially say that we are off. You can be the official starter as the CTO of Winnipeg Sports Talk.
All right, we're all here. We're set. I'm going to hit start. We got everyone in there. Rachel Richards, myself, and all the leaders are at the top. So what's going on here? Oh, Tyson Ducharme's there. And I'm controlling this, so...
we got the drop down. Yeah, we're not controlling the marbles, obviously.
What is going on here? They're going up, too. What is this?
This is a crazy course. I see Mark Sports Videos getting up there right now. Going up.
Manny Fran, he's out. Manny Fran is out first. Mark Sports Video.
There's a lot going on here. There's many obstacles when we get through. Mark Sports Video is in front. Manny Fran in second. Oh, Remis up to third right now. I don't know where my marble is right now.
Where are they going? Oh, my God.
Huge jump. It's Mark Sports Video. It's Michael Remis, Binaural, and Manny Fran coming into this next portion of the course. They move up. Miller Time. GF Liverpool's getting into the mix. Oh, we've got a huge pack here of the marbles getting in down this stretch right now. It is tight. Mark Sports Video and Remis looking pretty good right now. Are we getting close to the end of the race? We don't know. Winnipeg Jets 280 now in the mix. Remis in front. Can Remis pull it off? I think there's still a long ways to go, though, folks. Don't count your chickens or your ice cream cakes before they're ready to go. He's out! That's a DQ! So we are now... Hustler! Jeff Cabillas out! Oh, we are getting some serious casualties here.
Jansen.
Mark Sports Video's out. Now we've got... James Robinson is still alive. He's slowed down. DQ Nick is making a big push at the end. DQ Nick is now in first. Manny Fran's back. Oh, we have GF Liverpool. Miller Time.
Just
bailed. We are getting so close to the end. Miller Time 180. He gets stopped by the goalie at the end. The GF Liverpool. Could it be? Gregory Liverpool at the end. It looks like the sheriff of Winnipeg Sports Talk is our first ever winner.
Gregory.
The Sheriff did it. DQ Nick in. Tyson Ducharme second. Oh, what an exhilarating way. This is by far the bet. Like, listen, I enjoyed the Wheel of Fortune, but this was it. Gregory himself, the champion. Greg, can we get a post-game comment in the chat, please? Now that you've won, we'll need to figure out where Gregory himself is going to be picking up. Remo, I got to give you credit. We joked about doing this. This was one of the best ideas in Winnipeg Sports Talk history, doing this. The marbles on stream with everybody in the chat. And Gregory Liverpool. There it is. Get a screen cap of that, Greg. Stick that up on Twitter. The winner is the GF Liverpool. Now, Gregory, we're going to need you to send a few pics of you, much like Benj was iPhone Benj, stunting with his cake. We're going to need you to do the same. So anyways, we'll send you a DM. Unfortunately, we can't message people through YouTube, so it was a good thing that... Did everyone like that, by the way? Let us know.
Look at all these DNFs here. All these only 9 of the 23 people even finished this marble race.
So it was a tough course. It was a tough course, Reem. I hadn't seen that one before. There was a couple jumps there. And I mean, you look at the people, and that's the thing. I think if you were getting too fast at the start, you ran the risk of going OB, which very many of us did.
Mm-hmm. Let me go.
Yeah, Miller time is sour. He got blocked right at the end. He totally did. Those things that were coming up at the end. Yeah. It looked like he was clear. He got it, and then Sheriff Liverpool just scoots by. Thanks for coming out, and takes the W.
It was doing the camera work there is very hard. I've seen other people do it. I don't know what I'm doing there. So I hope I did okay.
Greg has spoken. I was like the horse that won the Preakness. Yes, you were. Coming in right at the wire, Greg.
Yeah, I had the lead early. My marble fell off the track. So, oh well.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I said I'm not sure whether we can get different colored marbles. We'll figure it out. Listen, anyways, this seems to be a hit with everyone, so it certainly is not the last time we're doing it. I realize people on the podcast right now, that's why we're doing it at the end, might be wondering what the hell are these guys doing.
Should I will direct you the podcast.
This is. Yeah, I would say, why not? I mean, people, they might be doing something and wondering, I think the play-by-play is exciting. I think what it's going to do is drive more people to YouTube. Going, geez, I think I might need to be watching this live. I mean, considering what seems to be going on, this sounds like a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun. By the way, if you're with us right now and you haven't given us the thumbs up, please hit that link, hit the thumbs up, give us the like. And if you're one of the few people that haven't already hit the red subscribe button, please do that as well, because we want to have you with us on a daily basis here on Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. And as I mentioned, for the people, we're doing it. We will be working on Monday of the May long weekend. There's too much to get to. We got to be there for you folks. So you can set a reminder right now. It may seem like a Sunday, but it's going to be a Monday, holiday Monday, not a holiday for us. We'll be live at 1 o'clock. Hoping to have the IC boys join us for a real fun sort of roundtable on the series. And, of course, it's the first day of live racing. We'll get a couple of our bets in for day 1. And then Darren Dunn's going to join us on Tuesday. We'll talk about opening night. He'll fill us in on everything else going on with the track. And Reem and I will be going head-to-head on this. But I do want to thank DQ Nick for helping us, as always. The support's amazing. And having these cakes to give out on game days is so much fun. And, obviously... it's tough for him because he would have had real bragging rights if he had managed to get first. But no, it was the legend, the original, the OG, caller number 1 from back in the day, Sheriff Gregory Liverpool, getting the dub today. He's the first ever caller in Hustler in all his history, and now he's the first ever champion of the marble races on Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Reem, anything else you want to hit on before we get into the weekend? I mean, it's sort of all hockey all the time right now, but... we've got some Blue Jays on the weekend. I'm still really hyped up on this PGA Championship. I've got some guys looking good right now. Where's Victor Hovland? Did Vic just have a bit of a fall-up? Ay. That's not good. Victor Hovland now, 1 under right now. So Corey Connors, this course is playing so tough. Corey Connors was tied for 9th when we talked about it a couple minutes ago. Well, guys are falling down. He's now tied for 5th. just 3 shots back of Phil Mickelson, and 3 South Africans are in between Phil and Corey Connors. Usti, Brandon Grace, Christian Bezuidenhout as well. And let's just see if there's any update on the cut line. Oh, the cut line is now to +4. And that is great news for Adam Hadwin. And that is great news, I believe, no, it's not good news for Mac Hughes because he had a couple bogeys going out. Doesn't look like he's going to make the cut. But my Adam Hadwin to make the cut prop, I believe, will cash. So that definitely is very, very nice. Remo, what an awesome week we've had. Just on the way out, for both people listening on the podcast later on and those of us that are still hanging out with us from YouTube, this has been maybe not quite a record-breaking week for an individual show because our first show, the trade deadline show, were massive viewership. But I'd have to think that with the excitement around the playoffs and how we continue to grow and how so many of you help spreading the word on Winnipeg Sports Talk, I don't think there's any doubt this will be the biggest week we've had yet since we started in early March.
Yeah, I agree. I think we had a bit of a bump and then kind of fell back to earth, but we've been slowly growing. We're over 4,000 subscribers. We hit 4,100 this week, and we've had so many, and I think a lot of people finding us on YouTube. So if you're in here not subscribed, I know 35% of people watching these aren't. So what are you doing? Hit the button. Hit the like button too. Again, record numbers this week. It's been a lot of fun to finally be in the playoffs, finally have games that matter. It's been inevitable that the Jets and the Oilers were going to play for so long, and we have it here, and everyone is excited. And even more excited with the Jets, bad losing streak at the end. They managed to, I don't want to say shock the world, but I mean, they got a win and showed that, they're better than that team that we saw at the end. So I think a lot of people were feeling way more optimistic than the final, couple weeks of the regular season.
Oh, great stuff. Well, listen, hey, Tracy, I post your YouTube link regularly. Love the show. Thanks so much, Tracy.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate it.
Jeff
Gibbelis Marble is refusing to do his post-game presser right now. Yeah, for those of you like me, we're going to have me too. Yeah, he's no longer with us.
Yeah. I was going to say, we did get an email from someone who's a big fan, wanted to know how to support, and I just said, look, come out to the streams, hit the like button on all the videos. If you're watching on replay on YouTube, leave a comment if you disagree with us or you agree or you like anything, or if you just want to say first in the comments to let everyone know, hey, you're the first guy to comment. That's awesome. Do that. So, and we're also on Facebook. Give us a follow there. The links are in the description. Like all of the posts. Share them if you want.
And we focus a lot on the YouTube, but I know there's a lot of people that consume it all through podcasts. It's basically about 50-50, it seems. And the one thing you can do, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a 5-star rating and a little review. That really helps as well. Get the word out about it. But listen, we'll have lots to talk about on Monday's program because big game tonight, Sunday night, Game 3 back here in Winnipeg. And we'll do another game day edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily on Monday afternoon. Coming up live at 1 o'clock before a late game, 8:45 puck drop for Game 4 here in the Peg on Monday. Until then, though, folks, I know we're dealing with a lot right now. There's not a lot going on. Stay home. Enjoy all the great sports on the weekend. Hopefully we'll have some positive results from the Winnipeg Jets to get fired up about going into Monday's show. But again, we were going to get through this, but it's going to be a slow May long. But the weather looks like it's going to suck anyways, which often is something that happens all the time, and we'll get through it. Hey, Evan P. Shout out to Evan. Thanks very much for the super chat. That is really, really nice of you. We greatly appreciate everyone that's with the support, whether you're popping in on the super chat or spreading the word on us. We wouldn't be doing this without you, and we couldn't do it without you. And of course, our sponsors: Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Not AutoCorp, Nick and Nicky DQ, Little Brown Jug. Still may have time to order some home delivery, by the way, for the weekend. littlebrownjug.ca. Assiniboia Downs, opening day on Monday. Can't wait to place that first bet against you, Remis, on that. Breezy Bend Country Club, breezybend.ca. Follow the PGA Championship this weekend. Go Corey Connors, go. Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge and Coolbet Canada. And again, about 10 minutes, I'll have the Coolbet odds up. If you do want to get an account and you haven't done it, we've got a 100% bonus offer. You can do that through the Twitter and click the link right there at Sports Talk WPG. All right, Remo, listen, great week. Thank you for everything. Thanks to everyone that's been with us. Enjoy the game tonight. You will know I am wearing the exact same shirt that I was on Wednesday. I'm not breaking up a winning lineup. You shouldn't either. Whatever you did on Wednesday, let's do it again tonight. Enjoy the long weekend. We'll see you Monday with a special May long weekend Monday, Victoria Day, I believe it is, edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Plan on having the IC boys hang out with us, talk all things Jets Oilers heading into Game 4. Until then, be safe, have a great time, hunkering down at home, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for a great week, everybody, and enjoy the game tonight.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.